Hello and welcome to Lost Love Chronicles.
Dear listeners, before we get started, drop a quick hi in the comments and let us know where you're tuning in from. Also, if you have any suggestions for us to make the channel better, please let us know. Now let's start with the story. I'm Jared, 45 years old, and I work as a contractor, not the shady kind who bails halfway through a drywall job, but someone who built his own company from the ground up. I'm not yacht rich or anything, but I could retire tomorrow and live comfortably. House is paid off, never carried debt, ran a clean business, treated my crew right. And I did it all for my family, or at least, that's what I thought. My ex-wife Celia is 38 and worked in HR. She used to tell me she loved how driven I was, said it made her feel secure. Now I get it, that was just code for you're the guy I settle for until someone shinier and trendier comes along. We have a daughter, Haley, 16. She used to be my little shadow, following me around everywhere. Now, she looks at me like I'm some kind of walking embarrassment. For the first 10 years, things were good. Just typical couple stuff. I worked, Celia worked. We took trips, bought her an SUV, paid for private school, braces, new phones every year. Celia didn't make much, but that never mattered to me. That was my role, right? Provider, protector, pack meal maker, whatever you want to call it. She used to brag to her coworkers that her man could fix anything. Sometimes I'd catch her watching me while I was fixing things around the house. She liked that I solved problems practical, no complaints, no drama. Then slowly, everything shifted. It started with this self-care talk. I'm not against it, hell. I even tried some yoga once. But what began as tea and stretching quickly morphed into expensive skincare routines, form-fitting office clothes, and perfume that I'm pretty sure cost more than all my power tools combined. Then came the locked phone. Then the work dinners once a month at first. Then it went from once a month to twice. Then every week. Late nights out. Vague texts with no names, just people from the office. Always dressed up, always glued to her phone. One night I finally asked, Celia, who were you with tonight? She snapped back. Why are you always asking? Like I'm doing something wrong. I didn't hold back. Well, maybe you are. That was the moment everything started unraveling. At the same time, Haley started acting weird. Like overnight. No more I love you, Dad. No more movie nights curled up on the couch with me. I was getting eye rolls for everything. One day, picking her up from school in my truck, she said, Dad, you look out of place. I couldn't help it. Sorry for not rolling up in a Tesla, princess. Celia laughed. A full-on laugh. Like it was normal to treat me like a joke in my own house. Still, I tried to ignore it. Told myself I was being dramatic. I wanted to believe that. Needed to believe that. Because what was the alternative? That my wife was cheating on me and my daughter was turning into a mini version of her? No. No way. Not in my house. It got to the point I felt like a guest in my own home. I'd come in after a 12-hour shift, covered in concrete dust, and they'd be giggling over something on their phones. But the second I walked in, silence. They'd stop mid-laugh. I'd ask, what's so funny? Nothing, Celia would say. Then just look at me like I'd farted in church. And the silence, man, that's the part nobody warns you about. How it just builds up. You go from family dinners to, we already ate. Goodnight kisses turn into bedroom doors shutting before you even get upstairs. Every little thing gets brushed off like it's nothing. One night, I found a restaurant receipt in her purse. Fancy place. Definitely not some hole-in-the-wall she'd go to with coworkers. 2 entrees, a dessert, 2 drinks. She said, it was a team celebration. Great. I guess her team likes candlelight dinners. What really got me was when she stopped wearing her wedding ring. Said it was getting tight. Funny. It fit perfectly for 17 years. I'm not some emotionally stunted caveman. I can feel when I'm being phased out. But I stayed because I love them. Even when it hurt. I thought maybe I was misreading things. Maybe it was burnout. Maybe it was a midlife crisis. So I tried. I started being more present, cooked dinner, cleaned up after, even planned a weekend getaway. Celia just said, I'm busy. Haley too. Too much going on, Dad. Always busy. Too busy to talk. Too busy to answer my calls. Too busy for the man who gave her everything she ever asked for. And still, I held on. I know how that sounds. But when you've invested your whole life in people, you don't just walk away because things get weird. You try. You fight for it. Deep down, I probably knew I was the only one still fighting. Just didn't want to admit it yet. That's when Liam entered the picture. First time I heard his name, Celia mentioned him like she was talking about the weather. My new supervisor is named Liam. They transferred him from another branch. That was it. No warning bells. No weird tone. Just an update. Oh cool, I said. Congrats on the new boss. The next time she said his name, it was, we should dress more professionally for meetings. Said it while putting on a blouse I'd never seen before. One of those tight ones that don't exactly scream, I'll get those HR files over to you ASAP, if you know what I mean. Then it was, Liam thinks I should apply for the leadership program. I remember asking her, "Is this Liam guy your boss or your life coach?" She didn't laugh, just smirked and said, "He's helping me grow." "Helping you grow, huh?" "Okay." I didn't ask many questions at first. Didn't want to be that insecure guy who freaks out because his wife has a male coworker. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Like a fool with a toolbox full of trust. But let me paint you a picture of Liam, because yeah, I looked him up. Celia tagged him in some team accomplishment post online. I clicked through to his profile. Dude's entire personality was motivational quotes, shirtless hiking, and gym selfies. That whole rise and grind alpha bro talk that makes you want to unplug the internet. His profile picture looked like it was taken for the Golden Globes. All to highlight his damn jawline. Total what's your kill count, bro? Energy. And yeah, I judged. Sue me. I know the type. I've worked with guys like that. They talk smooth, smile at everyone, but you don't want to turn your back on them around your wife or your wallet. Still, I didn't say anything. But once you start noticing things, you can't unnotice them. Celia started dropping Liam's name casually way too often. Like she couldn't finish a damn sentence without shoehorning him in there. Liam says that new time tracking software is a nightmare. Oh, Liam brought lunch for the team again. I remember raising an eyebrow. Oh wow, he brought lunch. Must be love. She rolled her eyes, but didn't say anything. And I swear every time she said his name, her voice got a little lighter. Not like she was singing, but that fake casual tone people use when they want to sound chill, but are just dying to talk about someone. Then came the part that really stuck with me. She was late one evening. Walked in, tossed her keys on the counter like it was nothing. "Hey," I said, keeping it light. "Where you been?" "Work dinner," she said, kicking off her heels. "Oh yeah? Cool. Who all was there?" She blinked. Tiny pause. "Oh, just the usual team." So I asked, "You mean Liam?" Her jaw tightened. "Barely, but I saw it." Then she nodded. "Yeah, him too." "Why?" I shrugged. "No reason. There were many reasons. But I wasn't going to get into it. Not like some jealous teenage boyfriend. I wasn't giving her the satisfaction of saying I told you so. So I stayed quiet. Observing. Gathering intel. That's when more signs started popping up. New gym membership. Suddenly, she cared about macros and protein intake, words she never even said before. Her phone never left her side. Never. She'd start giggling at text messages again, quiet little snorts and half smiles she tried to hide behind her wine glass. Not even Haley gets that kind of laughter from her anymore. Speaking of Haley, she started acting smug. I don't know how else to explain it. Like she knew something I didn't. Like she was in on some joke I hadn't been told. She'd give me this look, half pity, half "you'll figure it out eventually, old man." And I swear, the whispered phone calls between her and Celia went from random to daily. Haley stopped talking to me altogether. Unless she needed something. And even then, always with attitude. "Why are you asking where mom is? Why do you care what she's doing?" "Excuse me?" I said once. "Since when do I need permission to ask where my wife is?" She just scoffed and left the room. I tried to stay calm. I kept trying to fix things the only way I knew how, by doing things. Tangible things. I fixed things around the house. Cooked more often. Bought Celia a spa day. Just to help her relax. She thanked me. Politely. And then left the gift card on the counter. For 2 weeks. That kind of rejection doesn't yell. It just builds. Quiet. Like termites. And one night, I was cleaning up after dinner. Just me that night. Celia was at a work event. Again. And Haley? She said she already ate. So I was in the kitchen alone, scraping plates, rinsing off the pans, doing what I always did, holding things together, quietly, like a guy who's already fading into the wallpaper. I opened the trash to toss something out and noticed it right away. A takeout bag. Not the usual kind. This one was from a fancy Italian spot, the kind of place where the wine list needs a translator. Definitely not anywhere near Celia's office. And definitely not somewhere she and I had been together. Ever. I leaned in closer. 2 sets of silverware. 2 drinks. Neatly packed. No leftovers. I stared at it for a second, just frozen there with a wet sponge in my hand. Then I called out, "Haley?" She was in her room. "Yeah? Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "Did you and mom have dinner from Giordino's tonight?" There was a pause. "Yeah." She picked it up after work. "For just the 2 of you?" "Sure," she said, quick and clipped, like a kid lying about brushing her teeth. Then she walked off before I could say another word. I stood there staring at the trash can. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But the puzzle pieces weren't fitting anymore. Every work dinner. Every ignored call. Every fake laugh from across the room. And Liam. Always Liam. I started thinking about checking Celia's phone. I didn't. Not because I didn't want to, but because I knew that once I did, it would be real. Really real. Like no turning back, no pretending anymore. You see it, and it's there, and it stays. So I waited. It was getting closer. I could feel it like a shift in the air before a storm. Something big was coming. I just didn't know when. But I was going to find out. And when I did, the reliable background husband act. That was over. Turns out, I didn't even have to do anything dramatic. No tracking apps. No full FBI mode. They brought the show right to my living room. It was a Friday. I finished work early. Railing installation on a porch wrapped up ahead of schedule. So I thought, what the hell, I'll surprise the girls. Maybe grab a pizza, throw on a movie like old times. Something simple. Something good. I pull into the driveway around 5:45, and there it is. A sleek black Audi. Unfamiliar. Not a neighbor's car. Not one of Haley's friends. And definitely not a coworker of Celia's. I know what those people drive I used to drive her to their events. This thing looked expensive. Clean. Flashy. Parked like it belonged there. I sat there a second, engine off. Just staring. Then I got out. Slowly. No stomping. No rage. Just a quiet unease crawling up my spine. Like my bones already knew what was coming. I walked in through the garage. Keys in hand. I was expecting, I don't know, a surprise party. Some weird but innocent explanation. Instead, I walk into the kitchen and it's a full-on candlelit dinner. Not just a meal. A setup. There are tapered candles burning like this is some damn date night. Linen napkins. Wine glasses. Plates already half cleared. And there he is. Liam. Freaking Liam. Sitting there at my table, in my chair, wearing a perfectly ironed, fitted button-down like he's the goddamn guest of honor at a ceremony being held in his name. No nerves, no guilt. Just comfortable. Settled. Across from him, Celia. Wearing that red blouse. The one she only ever pulled out for anniversaries or when we went somewhere really nice, which wasn't often anymore. Her hair's done, curled soft around her shoulders. Lips painted a shade I hadn't seen in months. And she's laughing. That kind of laugh she used to do when we first met, like something inside her was glowing. Like she was 25 again and the quarterback just asked her out after study hall. And then there's Haley, sitting right between them, fork twirling lazily in her hand. Smile on her face like this is just another Thursday. Like I didn't just walk into a Twilight Zone episode of my own damn life. Nobody noticed me at first. 10 seconds. Maybe more. I stood there, tool belt still on, dust on my jeans from work. They were too busy being whatever the hell this was, some fake little family scene that didn't include me. Then finally, Celia looked up. Her smile vanished, snapped off so fast it could have shattered a wine glass. Liam turned next, calm as ever, like I'd walked into his house, not mine. He looked me up and down, took in the boots, the belt, the sawdust, the sweat. Then he gave me this nod. A nod. Like, hey man. The audacity. No panic. No shame. Just that smug, condescending calm that said, you're not even a threat. Then Haley looked up. Didn't flinch. Didn't gasp. Just squinted at me, almost annoyed. Why are you home so early? She asked, like I was the one intruding. Not hi, Dad. Not everything okay? Just, why are you here? I didn't answer her. I looked straight at Celia. What is this? She opened her mouth. Closed it. Did that stammering thing people do when they're trying to pick the least offensive lie off a shelf. But Liam beat her to it. We were just having dinner, he said smoothly. Like this wasn't completely insane. Haley wanted to show me her English project. Haley wanted to show him her English project. In my kitchen. Over candlelight. This man, in my house, with my daughter, playing house like this is some mid-season sitcom episode, and I'm the dumb neighbor who walks in at the wrong time for a punchline. I turned to Haley. You knew this was happening? She shrugged. No guilt. Just a shrug. I asked, and you're okay with this? Another shrug. This time with a smile. Mom deserves to be with someone who actually appreciates her, she said. I blinked. You mean someone who takes her to dinner and lies to her husband? She crossed her arms. Someone exciting. Not boring and stuck. I just stared at her. Let it hang. Then I said it. Soft, but it landed like a brick. Did you ever even love me, Haley? Or was I just the guy who paid for everything? She didn't hesitate. Didn't even blink. At least I'd have a hot dad. That hurt more than anything Celia had ever said. No hesitation. Just blatant. Like she'd been holding on to that line, waiting for the perfect moment to drop it. 16 years. 16 years of late nights, school runs, scraped knees, birthday presents wrapped after midnight, and pep talks before every first day of school. 16 years of being there. Always. And that's all I was to her. Not a father. Not even a man, really. Just some guy she wished looked more like Liam. I don't think I'd ever felt my soul leave my body before. But in that moment, it just left. That sentence. That tone. Like she'd rehearsed it. Like it wasn't the first time she'd said it out loud, just the first time in front of me. I looked at Celia. Still silent. Not one word. Not a single syllable in my defense. Just tears forming in her eyes now. Right on cue. So this is it, I said quietly. She finally broke. Tears spilled over. Of course they did. Because that's how it works, right? They push and push and push until you're standing on the edge. And when you finally say something, finally call it out, they cry. Like you're the one who broke something. I didn't plan for it to be like this, she said, voice shaking. I didn't say a thing, just nodded. Slow, like I'd finally caught up to what the rest of the world already knew. Then I turned to Liam. Get out of my house. He raised both hands, all calm and faux innocence. Whoa, easy man, it was just dinner. Let's not. Shut up, I said. Flat. Quiet. No yelling. Just firm. Celia stood up, like she was suddenly waking up from a nap she'd taken years ago. Jared, please. Don't Jared me. My voice didn't even rise. Don't act like this isn't exactly what it looks like. She didn't deny it. Didn't argue. Didn't even try. And Liam still sitting. Like he still had a say. Still thought he could steer this. So I stepped closer. Looked him right in the eye. I'm not going to say it again, I told him. You have 10 seconds to get up, walk out that door, and never come back. Pause. You won't get a third chance. Haley looked bored. Like I was the one making this dramatic. Like I was embarrassing her or ruining some perfect little scene. Liam finally stood up. Slowly. Like he thought this was a movie and he was playing the lead. Walked to the door, not a word to me. But right before he stepped out, he turned to Celia. Text me later. That broke something in me. I turned to her. You're going to text him later? Seriously? My voice cracked just slightly. You brought another man into our house. Into our daughter's life. And you're not even trying to hide it anymore? She didn't answer. She followed him to the door. Just stood there like she didn't know whether to leave with him or stay. Haley didn't move. Just stayed seated. Still at the damn dinner table. I turned. Walked out to the garage. Grabbed the go bag I keep for job sites. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't slam a door. On the drive, I pulled out my phone. Texted a buddy who'd gone through a divorce last year. Didn't explain much. Just, need a name. He texted back almost instantly. Gave me a lawyer's number. And said, call him tonight. And I did. Called him that night. He answered on the first ring like he'd been expecting it. Maybe he was. We met the next morning. His office was small. No frills. Desk, chairs, a half-dead plant by the window. But the man, he was sharp as a tack. Didn't waste a second. Had that look in his eyes like he'd walked people through hell and came out the other side grinning. Exactly the kind of person you want when everything's on fire. He leaned back, laced his fingers. How much do you have to lose? I gave him a number. He whistled. Yeah, we're not letting her anywhere near that. Then he tilted his head and asked, did you have a prenup? I smirked. Yeah, when we were engaged, she said it didn't make sense. We'll never need it, she told me. Swore to me ours was forever. I nodded back then. Played along. But I had it drawn up quietly anyway. She signed it like it was a birthday card, smiling. Barely reading, more worried about putting down the deposit on the wedding venue than reading fine print. Yeah, we planned for forever. Only, I also planned for what came after. We spent the next 2 hours going over everything. Business assets, property, retirement, savings, investments, every bit of it. He mapped it out like a blueprint. Clean, methodical, bulletproof. This is strategy, he said, not romance. It wasn't the kind of stuff you'd ever see on a feel-good Instagram quote. But it wins real battles. Quiet ones. The kind you don't post about. You can't hide money, he said, tapping his pen against the desk. But you sure as hell can move it. And that's exactly what we did. First step, the business. We restructured everything. Nothing shady, just smart. Shifted ownership to a new LLC. In my cousin's name. Every piece of equipment, every asset that looked juicy on paper repositioned. Reclassified. Protected. It all vanished from her reach. Then came the house. I told him, let her have it. He raised an eyebrow. You sure? Yeah, I said. Let her keep the kitchen where she played house with her gym rat boyfriend. He nodded. All right then, he said. That'll be her only win. Because she wasn't touching the business. Not the long-term investments. Not the money I'd set aside before we were even married. Celia always knew I had money. But she never knew how it was structured. That was always her mistake. She looked at the house, the cars, the furniture. Thought that was the big score. She forgot about the rest. The boring part. Turns out, being boring makes you really hard to rob. For the next few weeks, I played along. Came home like nothing happened. But I barely spoke. No arguments. No questions. Just the same routine. In, out, done. Celia didn't know it, but I was already halfway gone. I knew better than to make moves too fast. People like her, once they get spooked, they call lawyers. And the last thing I needed was some sharp-suited divorce hawk sniffing around my accounts because I tipped my hand too soon. So I kept it quiet. Calm. One night, I was out in the garage working on the lawnmower, half an excuse, half a way to think, when I heard the door open behind me. Didn't look up. Didn't stop turning the wrench. But I could feel her standing there. That can we talk? Energy. Jared, she said. Voice soft. Almost careful. I've been doing a lot of thinking. I didn't say a word. Just kept working. I made a mistake, she continued. Still didn't look up. I got distracted. Things fell off between us, and I guess I looked for something that wasn't real. In another lifetime. maybe that would have hit me different. Maybe I'd have wanted to believe it. But now, all I could think about was how ironic it was the woman who once said, "We'll never need a prenup," standing in front of me, trying to patch something she didn't even realize she'd signed away. "You didn't deserve how I handled things," she added, voice shaking, just enough to sound rehearsed. Not entirely fake, but not raw either. I gave her a nod. Just one of those vague, non-committal ones. The kind that keeps someone dangling. She stepped a little closer. "I want to fix this," she said. "I want to fix us." I wiped my hands off on a rag. "Slow. Calm. Takes two to want that," I said. She smiled, like she thought that meant we were getting somewhere. She didn't know it was just bait. I was giving her just enough to keep her distracted. What she didn't see was the phone behind the cordless drill on the workbench propped up, camera rolling, mic hot. Recording everything. Legally, by the way, one-party consent in our state. I didn't do it to humiliate her. I did it because I knew exactly how people like Celia operated. Rehearse the apology, twist the narrative, play the victim. If this ever ended up in mediation or a courtroom, I wanted it on record crystal clear that she admitted fault. That I never promised her anything. No reconciliation. No path forward. Just enough attention to keep her in one place. While I secured everything, she thought she was manipulating me for a second chance. But really, she'd walked into a confessional, and I just made sure the door stayed open. While she hovered with her regrets and soft apologies, my lawyer and I were working behind the scenes. Locking down every account. Redirecting automatic payments. Reassigning beneficiaries. I even changed the mailing address on most of the sensitive documents to a P.O. box she didn't know existed. Every move precise. Quiet. Controlled. Then came the step that sealed it. I sat her down one evening, made it look casual. "Celia," I said, spooning some risotto onto my plate, "I've got a lead on a real estate opportunity. Out of state. Not public, yet guy I know from business school isn't on it. They're looking for capital fast." She looked up from her glass of wine. "Real estate?" "Yeah," I nodded. "Zoned for mixed use. Early investors are projected to double, maybe triple their money. 2-year window. Maybe less." I let that hang. A soft hum of potential wealth. She tried to keep her voice even. "Sounds promising. How serious is it?" "Serious enough I've been moving things around to make room," I said. "If it lands, we're talking 7 figures. That got her attention. She perked up, started playing domestic again, cooking dinners, asking me if I needed anything. Even Hallie noticed. "Mom made lunch for me and you today," she said once, like it was some kind of holiday. Celia even asked me about my day once. I swear, it was like she found a dusty script in a drawer labeled "How to be a good wife" and decided to rehearse it. But I wasn't buying it. I was just giving her more rope. And I kept the lie going for 3 months. Then, when every lock was in place, every document triple copied, every dollar safe, I broke the news over breakfast. "Looks like the deal fell through," I said between bites of toast. "Land's tied up in zoning red tape." Whole thing collapsed. Her fork froze halfway to her mouth. Fell. Hit the plate with a sharp clatter. She just stared at me, like I'd told her I lost a winning lottery ticket. 2 weeks later, I got the notification, Celia filed. She thought filing first gave her leverage. It didn't. I had proof. I had plans. I had backup copies of backup copies. She expected to walk away with a fat check, full custody of Hallie, and probably a few Instagram posts about how she was thriving. What she got was the house. Enjoy the maintenance bills. A small fraction of what was visible. And a hard reality check. Her lawyer didn't stand a chance. Mine came in like he'd been waiting for this war his whole life. Professional. Focused. Bulletproof. Hers looked like she'd Googled divorce lawyer near me the night before. And when the prenup hit the table, dead silence. Celia's lawyer looked like he'd swallowed a nail. Started flipping through the pages, eyes darting. Like maybe he'd find some technicality, some oversight, some clause that could save her. Then he tried to argue. But you can't unsign something just because it's inconvenient. She lost all her leverage the day she called a legal document bad vibes. I'll never forget the look on her face when it hit her white as a sheet. Like she'd just realized the ground beneath her feet wasn't ground at all. Just paper she never bothered to read. Her lawyer cleared his throat and leaned in, tapping a section of the prenup with a short, chewed fingernail. "You agreed to exclude business income, premarital investments, and any future assets derived from separate accounts," he said, voice low, like he was trying not to wake something sleeping in the room. "This covers a lot." Finally, Celia looked up. Her voice came out small. I thought that wouldn't count anymore." I sat back in my chair, gave a dry chuckle. "You didn't think you'd need it because back then, you actually believed in your vows." She looked down at the table. Said nothing. As for Hallie, Celia came in swinging. She wanted full custody. Said I was emotionally unavailable. A cold parent. I didn't argue. Not because it was true, because it wasn't, but because Hallie had already made her position painfully clear in the months leading up to the hearing. I wasn't going to force myself where I wasn't wanted. If that's what they wanted, they could have it. So I signed the papers. Looked at Celia one last time across that polished courtroom bench. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Hope it was worth it, I said. Then I walked out. No fanfare. No drama. Just a man reclaiming his peace. But Liam? Oh, Liam. He vanished faster than you can say leg day. From what I've heard, and believe me, people talk he stuck around for a few months after the divorce. Moved into my house with Celia and Hallie. Probably thought he was stepping into some kind of ready-made life. You know the kind. Kitchen stocked, bed warm, kid already halfway raised. All the perks of being a man without building a damn thing. At first, it looked like they were thriving. Celia posted some ridiculous Facebook posts, things like new beginnings and blessed beyond measure, next to some filtered photo of French toast and mimosas. Hallie posted a story once. Liam behind the wheel of Celia's Audi, acting like it was his. I saw it all. Like reruns of a show I used to love, but now couldn't stand. And then, the post stopped. The real intel came from someone unexpected, an old friend of Celia's. Someone I hadn't seen in years. Used to come to birthdays, pool parties, the occasional game night. Never took sides in the divorce. Just faded out like most mutuals do. I was at the hardware store one morning, grabbing some screws and oil for the mower, when I saw her. She spotted me first. Jared? She said, walking up cautiously. I turned. Hey, wow. It's been a while. She smiled, sort of. Yeah, long time. You doing all right? I shrugged. I'm fine. She nodded slowly. Then out of nowhere, she just blurted it out. Thought you should know. Celia's not doing so great. I raised an eyebrow. She leaned in like we were about to exchange state secrets. Liam's a train wreck, she whispered. Treats her like a personal assistant. Never takes her anywhere. Ignores her in public. I didn't say anything. Just kept my eyes on her, listening. A few weeks ago at a party, she continued. He introduced her as someone from work. My jaw tensed. She cried in the bathroom. She added, voice low now, like she hated even remembering it. I stayed quiet. Just stood there. New clothes, new makeup, talking about getting serious with Liam, but everyone could see he wasn't into it. She went on. He's sleeping around too. Everyone knows. She's just pretending she doesn't. I looked away, not because I didn't believe her, but because I did. All of it. Then she said the one sentence that stuck with me. You deserve better. And just like that, she was gone, walked back toward the paint aisle like we'd never spoken. I got in my truck and sat there for 10 minutes, just letting it all sink in. I wasn't happy. Wasn't gloating. I felt nothing. Just stillness. They made their choices. Now they had to live with them. Celia built a fantasy in her head. New man. New life. But she forgot that shiny wears off. And when the excitement goes, all that's left is who the person really is. Liam wasn't a husband. Wasn't a father. Wasn't a provider. He was a pretty face without an ounce of character. And when things got tough, he bolted. It wasn't long before Celia came crawling back. Didn't come with dignity. Didn't seek me out with humility. Didn't own a damn thing. She came back the way people always do when the music stops and they realize the person they bet on wasn't built to last. It started small. Missed calls from block numbers. Emails that began with I've been thinking and ended with maybe we could talk. Like we were old college exes trying to reconnect over coffee. Like she hadn't set fire to the house I spent 2 decades building. The one that really got me? Celia sent a message through my company's contact form. Like I was some service she used to use and maybe wanted to resubscribe to. Subject line, just wanted to talk. Yeah, me too. About a year ago. I ignored it. But she didn't stop there. Celia showed up at one of my job sites, heels on. Lipstick. Holding herself like someone who thought a few tears and an apology could rewind time. Can we talk? She asked. No hesitation. No. She looked stunned when I cut her off. I'm not finished, I said. You don't get to wreck a marriage, chase a fake guy, drag our daughter through it all, and then show up when it all blows up in your face. She opened her mouth to interrupt, but I shut her down before she could. I don't need closure. I don't want answers. And I'm not the same guy who used to stand out in this driveway, waiting for you to look at me the way you looked at him. She didn't say much after that, just nodded and walked away. Good. A week later, Haley showed up. Same driveway. Same apologetic face. Can I come live with you? She asked, voice small. Said Liam had taken off months ago. Celia had tried dating some other guy, who used her for whatever little she had left, and then vanished. Haley told me Celia was constantly angry now, the house falling apart, and she felt like she was living with a stranger. I let her talk. Let her cry. Then I told her the truth. You don't just get to come back to a safe place after you helped someone destroy it. She tried to apologize again. I didn't yell. Didn't raise my voice. But I was clear. I was never the backup plan. I was the whole damn plan. You chose someone else's idea of success over mine. That's fine. But choices have consequences. She asked if I'd ever let her come back. I didn't answer right away. She was sitting across from me on the tailgate of my truck, swinging her feet like she used to when she was 6. But she wasn't 6 anymore. And I wasn't the same dad who used to get ignored when she thought she had better options. I mean, she said, trying to force a smile, maybe someday we can go back to how it was. I looked at her, really looked at her. All I saw was the same girl who stood by that dinner table while her mother played house with another man without saying a single word. The same girl who called me stuck and boring, who rolled her eyes at the man who paid for everything she ever had, who let me walk out of my own house like I was a stranger. You want to go back? I said. You want to go back to the version of me you couldn't even look in the eye? Her face changed, like she was trying to process what I said. You want to go back to movie nights and birthday cakes, I said, voice steady, after saying your mom deserves someone with status? After sitting across from me and siding with the man who disrespected me in my own home? She tried to interrupt, but I didn't let her. I begged you to see what was happening. I gave you everything, every ounce of energy I had as a father, and you threw it away like it was nothing. And now that the ground you chose is starting to crack, you're looking for something solid again. She was crying now, hands covering her face, shoulders shaking. It wasn't that I didn't have a heart. I still loved her. But love isn't a reset button. I looked straight ahead, didn't sugarcoat it. I don't think I can let you come back. Not all the way. Not like before. She froze. I continued. I'm not doing this halfway. I'm not cracking the door open just so you can test if it's warm in here. I have a life now. One that's not built on guilt or manipulation. More silence. Then she whispered, so that's it? I didn't say, that's it. It's just the reality of what happens when someone takes advantage of the person who loved them unconditionally. I got up, brushed the dust off my jeans, and looked at her one last time. I'm not angry anymore. But I'm also not available. You can't break something and act surprised when it doesn't work the same way anymore. She didn't argue, didn't yell, didn't beg, just sat there for a minute, then got up and walked away without a word. That silence wasn't awkward. It was peace. The kind of peace you earn when you finally stop leaving doors open for the people who left you. But here's the part they'll never know. While they were falling apart, I met someone. Didn't plan it. Wasn't looking. Wasn't on dating apps or prowling bars like some midlife crisis dude. It happened naturally. She's a civil engineer. Works in infrastructure. We met during a permitting dispute on one of my projects. She found an error in a county report that saved me thousands. And I knew right then this woman isn't here to be impressed. She's here to build. Doesn't care about titles, doesn't brag, quiet, focused, smart. And when she looks at me, it doesn't feel like she's scanning to see if she can find something better. It's like she sees exactly what's in front of her, and she likes it. She didn't need me to fix her. I was already fixed. But I have to admit, she made moving on a whole lot easier. One day she asked me, what happened with your ex? I told her, she wanted someone shinier. I stayed solid. She smiled and said, shiny doesn't last. Concrete does. We're not rushing anything, she added. We both like our space. But she knows who I am. And that's more than I got from my own wife and daughter. For years now, I've got a steady business, peace and quiet, a good woman by my side, and zero illusions. When the dust settled, I made myself a promise. I'm not wasting another minute on people who don't see my worth. So, I got back in the gym. Nothing crazy, just consistent. 3 days a week. No excuses. The weights didn't lie to me. The results didn't depend on anyone else's mood. I started playing guitar again too. Just me, the strings, and zero noise. Started woodworking like I always said I would. Built my own workbench. Carved a coffee table that came out damn good. Every hour I used to spend trying to fix them, that time went back into fixing me. I'm not healed. I'm not thriving. I'm just living the way I should have been living all along, without anyone trying to make me feel small for being reliable. Celia and Haley thought I'd be here broken and waiting. But I'm not waiting. I'm building. And this time I'm only letting in people who know how to hold a hammer. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.